Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the 4th Pegaso International Conference. This year, the topic is on inclusive sustainability in Africa, Europe through dialogue and technology. We are honored to see many people from all over the world connected to follow this event. Now the time to start has come, so I leave the floor to the Rector of Pegaso International, Professor Luigia Melillo. Please.
Excellencies, distinguished colleagues, dear PhD students, delegates, and all participants, good afternoon and welcome. It is my duty and pleasure as Rector to open this annual event, which is Pegaso International Conference. Let me do it with pride. It means for us a highly scientific event, bringing the International Academy on topics of pressing scientific relevance and social utility, such as last year, Open Science, a challenger for the digitalization and the sharing of research and innovation. It represents what is in our mind, our vision, the emphasis on student-centered learning, teaching, and assessment, as well as our determined effort to connect education, research, and the third mission that includes lifelong learning, public engagement, and knowledge transfer. Its format is unique of its kind because not only promotes international discussion among eminent academics through specific panels on the most recent developments, but also encourages the active participation of students, in particular with the papers of PhD students presented in the various concurrent sessions, and with the workshop of publishing and project networking opportunities. PI conference is therefore an event that involves at the international level both the formation of PhD students and the dialogue of researchers with policymakers, that are eminent personalities from the institutional world. I quote the President of the European Parliament for all this year. Malta, like most other EU member states, faces skills shortages, particularly in the STEM science, technology, engineering and mathematics, and ICT fields. Education policymakers must start to improve higher education quality, not simply by maintaining the status quo. The time has come to challenge the severe handicap of sustainable economic growth. New skills are emerging in the green and digital transition of the EU society. Educators in the public and private sectors need to listen more to what other stakeholders in the education system have to say about what they expect from the investment in education and research. This year's topics are sustainability challenges in the relationship between Africa and Europe, education, bringing together young people also through virtual collaborative learning. Our digital technologies, in fact, can foster equal opportunities, local developments, and ensure social integration. After having briefly shown the reasons for holding this conference, I sincerely thank the many participants gathered from several countries around the world, and I hope that the culture of peace, thanks to the knowledge, to the diplomacy of science, will really become the basis of international solidarity, cooperation, and respect of human rights.
Thank you, Rector Melillo. So now, please, Director Buonomo, the floor is yours. It's your turn, Mr. Andrea Buonomo, General Director of Multiversity Holding.
Dear participants, it's a great honor for me to bring my welcome greetings to all the present authorities, distinguished lecturers, speakers, and students, and all the participants to this event. Your participation and presence in this event is extremely encouraging for us to achieve more and better our mission as Pegaso International. We are a young institution. We have been created 5 years ago to provide accessible education to students worldwide. We believe that our model represents the future of educational model, and since given the fact that it's open, inclusive, and tailor-made for everyone. We are working hard, and so far we are also succeeding. Let me mention one of the most recent and concrete results that is the positive outcome of the audit by the International Panel of academic evaluators organized and established by ENFEA. This is, of course, is thanks to the great contribution of the lecturer from all over the world, but also, and more importantly, thanks to this highly scientific events that we conduct on an annual basis. For this, let me warmly and sincerely thank our rector, Professor Melillo, for the vision, perseverance, and balance in guiding Pegaso International as an educational institution. But we are continue to work. Proof of this is the fact that are in the process to proclaim the new call of our PhD on sustainable development. A PhD that joins on the law, education, and development, and that we believe that can provide the right set of capabilities and toolkit for our students in facing what are the most relevant challenges of our times. More specifically, we are in times where it's important to find a new way of seeing the economic development. We need an inspiration economy. We have to face the impact of the economy of the migration flows that will continue and will change the overall economic and geopolitical structure of Europe and Africa, of course. And of course, there will be also the challenge of climate change, global warming, public health, and geopolitical imbalances. All these challenges requires more depth and breadth into the skill set and capabilities of policymakers, academic group in order to find a solution and policies to face this challenging world and our times. We are also aiming to enrich our educational offer and, of course, creating and developing our bachelor's and master degrees, always with the spirits of increase the international angle of our educational programs. Of course, respecting what are our guiding principle of worldwide and lifelong learning, with a special attention to the young students that remain the center of our scope and interest, but also providing professional development to workers and employed students in developing in their career and in continuing to make each sector and the overall world a better world. As a new governance, we are very committed in supporting this educational project, more specifically the educational project of Pegaso International, and continue to provide high quality of education, and of course, more importantly, to secure the entry into the labor market for our students. In conclusion, having such this one, the PI conference, mark the way and are the real challenge for a global higher education, thanks also to our strong educational technological imprinting in the education. For this, good luck, and I wish you great work in the following sessions.
Thank you so much. And now it is with immense honor that we leave the floor to the President of the European Parliament, Her Excellency Roberta Metsola.
Dear friends, I am delighted to open this year's Pegaso International Conference and grateful to Rector and Professor Luigia Melillo for her invitation to address you. This year's session will focus on inclusive sustainability in Africa, Europe, through dialogue and technology. As a multi-citizen myself, I have witnessed firsthand the political, cultural, and economic diversity that exists in the Euro-Mediterranean region. And here, African-European dialogue is key. In order to encourage sustainable collaboration across diverse regions, dialogue and technology exchanges are a priority. Looking ahead, you will discuss major issues of our time, from inclusion, sustainable development, to digitalization, higher education, and cross-regional support. As President of the European Parliament, I can assure you that at an EU level, every region of the European Union matters. Our diversity is our strength. No European region is too peripheral, and many regions play a key role in the European Union's economic and political relations with third countries. There are issues that the EU cannot approach alone. We depend upon the ideas that stem from conferences like this one in order to help guide us and instruct our policies further. I am particularly pleased that many young people are attending this Pegaso International Conference. Your political engagement matters, so that all of us can be best prepared and invest in Europe's tomorrow. Russia's escalating attacks on Ukraine, an energy crisis and a food supply crisis remind us that we stand stronger when we are united and that like-minded allies should cooperate further. Increasing solidarity both within EU borders, across the Mediterranean region and to Africa remains so important. And with a focus on inclusion, respect for cultural diversity and prosperous coexistence, I believe that together we can steer the Africa-Europe dialogue in a positive and long-lasting partnership. I wish you fruitful exchanges.
Thank you so much. Now we floor to the President Emeritus of Malta, Her Excellency Marie-Louise Coleiro Preca, please.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Hello, Professor Melillo. Before I start my welcome note to this conference, I must commend Pegaso International for creating an international platform for education without borders, where every person may choose to broaden their horizons and follow their aspirations through online learning, transcending countries, cultures, faith traditions, and so many other human-made barriers. I must thank Pegaso International for choosing Malta as their base 5 years ago, realizing Malta's potential as a bridge between the northern and southern shores of the Mediterranean. I also deeply appreciate the theme that has been chosen for this year's conference, that of inclusive sustainability in Africa, Europe. I believe this is appropriate, as the sustainability of Africa rests on the future of its young people. There needs to be the creation of honest, proper, and sustainable investment opportunities for the employment of young people in Africa. Obviously, for this to become a reality, there needs to be the political will of governments in Africa and in Europe, as well as the goodwill of the authorities on both sides of the Mediterranean. I truly believe that businesses and the private sector stand to gain from honest investment in Africa and subsequent inclusion of more young people into the African workforce. However, these outcomes can only be achieved if young people have access to education and training and the development of skills. I see a vital role for Pegaso International in offering specialized education and training in spheres that are so important. Pegaso International can be a catalyst to fill the gaps in education and training that would otherwise be non-existent. For young people in particular, skills gaps between education and the needs of the labor market is detrimental to sustainable employment and to improving a comprehensive package for young Africans to thrive in the country of their birth. I have been vociferous with the United Nations agencies, with European Union policymakers, and with politicians in raising awareness of the needs of the young people of Africa. Now I turn to you as academics, practitioners, rectors of universities, educators, to create education opportunities for the young people of Africa so that they can grow and develop their full potential. I believe that education is key, and stronger collaboration between our respective governments and the private sector is important to identify needs to further education and training. I believe that Pegaso International can play a major role with its already established networks of universities in the Mediterranean in providing opportunities for growth and sustainable development of African nations. Finally, I would like to thank all those who are making this conference possible. Pegaso, the Pegaso International and the Malta team, and of course, my special greetings and appreciation go to Professoressa Luigia Melillo. Professor Melillo, I augur you that you will continue with your tireless passion and development of this innovative thinking and providing the space and opportunity for students from the region to grow into strong, educated, and skilled adults for strong and meaningful leadership on the African continent. Professor Melillo, I am proud of what you are doing together with your able team, because you are also creating a most needed soft diplomacy network. Pegaso International is indeed educating, but also building sustainable peace in our turbulent times. I wish you all a very successful conference.
Thank you so much, President, for your contribution. And now it's the turn of the Ambassador of Italy in Malta, His Excellency Fabrizio Romano.
Sua Eccellenza Presidente Emerito Marie-Louise Coleiro Preca, Signora Presidente del Parlamento europeo, signori ministri, autorità, gentili ospiti, partecipo con piacere anche quest'anno all'inaugurazione della Pegaso International Conference 2022. Desidero salutare i partecipanti, le autorità, gli accademici illustri presenti a questa iniziativa, che si conferma un appuntamento annuale importante sia per Malta che naturalmente per l'Italia. Vorrei subito premettere che, come finora è stato, non mancherà la nostra collaborazione istituzionale con l'attività di Pegaso, e questo naturalmente nei limiti delle competenze e delle funzioni dell'Ambasciata d'Italia a Malta. La cultura resta un impegno prioritario per il nostro Paese, così come resta l'attenzione verso la ricerca, l'innovazione, la digitalizzazione, in un momento di consolidamento e di rilancio della nostra azione politica nel Mediterraneo, o mare, anzi vorrei dire, usando i termini degli analisti di geopolitica, la continuazione di un territorio che per noi, per la nostra politica estera, rimane di un riferimento fondamentale, di importanza prioritaria. L'investimento nelle prossime generazioni, sulle prossime generazioni, manifesta consapevolezza del futuro e dei doveri nei confronti dei giovani. Una delle novità è quella di ampliare la base di coloro che partecipano alla conoscenza, di renderla completa, senza esclusioni. Nella mia funzione di rappresentante dell'Italia a Malta auguro a tutti il successo di questi lavori, convinto che si riveleranno un utile momento di confronto, di costruttivo e di crescita comune. Sono sicuro che i lavori saranno molto interessanti. Con questi auspici auguro buon lavoro a tutti. Grazie.
Thank you. And now we give the word to the Scientific Director of Universitas Mercatorum and Pegaso University, Italy, Professor Francesco Fimmanò.
Good afternoon at all. Thanks everyone. Thanks to Luigia Melillo, our Rector of Pegaso International, and for vision of this event. Inclusive sustainability through dialogue and technology pose two major problems that the event will raise. The first one is the relationship between knowledge and also technological and democracy. It's the first problem at all. The second one is the digital culture, but the digital culture is not intended as digital competence. Digital culture intended social, anthropologically, that set of knowledge and practice acquired by man, which are transmitted from generation to generation. Therefore, a complex of models to develop ideas, symbols, actions, provisions, and procedures. Digital culture can be defined as ways of thinking, ways of acting, and the material objects to take together form the lifestyle of the people in the world. As if to say about the industrial culture or the mercantile culture in the past centuries. The culture is the culture of that society in that historical moment. So this new phenomenon of social inequality, which is classified under the name of digital divide, is still significantly present in the world in very large sections of the population. But this concerns not only people that living in backward countries. This is important. This concerns also elderly people, digitally literate. And this is a big problem for this moment, historical moment, that we must rise. Therefore, between those who can participate and those who cannot participate in these fundamental rights that manifest themselves in the new forms of digital citizenship and the e-democracy. Well done, Luigia. Bye.
Thank you so much, Professor Fimmanò. And now we leave the floor to the CEO of Malta for the United Education Authority, Ms. Rosanna Cuschieri.
Esteemed guests and colleagues, it is undeniable that we are witnessing a fundamental transition towards a digitalized and green world. The green transition being a crucial response to address the climate crisis, and the digital transition being a necessary change to survive in an increasingly competitive and fast-changing world, is pivotal for survival and sustainability, equipping the people with the necessary competencies to seamlessly sail through these two transitions. All players in education need to strategically reflect on how digital technologies can be embedded into education and training. This transformation should include an enhanced dialogue and stronger partnerships between educators, the private sector, researchers, municipalities, and public authorities. Furthermore, parents, companies, civil society, and learners themselves, including younger learners, should be more closely involved in efforts to make high-quality, accessible, and inclusive digital education and training a reality for all. Having equitable further and higher education ensures that people, irrespective of their socio-economic factors, have an equal chance of achieving educational potential at tertiary level. To reap the potential of the whole population, it is crucial for the education system to explicitly take into consideration the needs and circumstances of the entire student population. Our education system has a critical role to play, and this must be done together with other sectors and stakeholders. Further and higher education providers must ensure comprehensive ethics and integrity education training for staff and students. Institutions and providers must have a framework in place for promoting and overseeing such practices. Further and higher education institutions shall maintain their autonomy and shall be encouraged to collaborate with emphasis on research and curricular development to remain relevant, diverse, and efficient. There should be strong synergy and coordination between all stakeholders based on clear assignment of roles and responsibilities. Mutual learning and cooperation shall form the essence of this coordination. Intersectoral mobility is one of the enabling factors that enhance innovation, and it plays an important role in the design and application of appropriate innovation policies of higher education. Measuring the actual impact of such cross-section mobility is a challenge, as it is closely linked to other initiatives that support knowledge exchange, such as collaboration between the higher education providers and the industry. An increase in cross-sectional sectoral collaboration can ensure industry-relevant learning and create new job opportunities by stimulating economic growth. Several other important changes have been happening in the education sphere, and the quality mechanisms which have been used should not be static, but should rather be used as valuable instruments in addressing the ever-changing needs of learners in a fast-moving world. The MQF and other quality mechanisms need to continue to move with the times and to ensure that learners have a fruitful and beneficial learning experience all throughout their lives. Malta has participated in several graduate tracking initiatives, such as Eurograduate and other graduate tracer studies, but we still lack nation-wide systematic longitudinal studies that analyze the long-term situation of graduates on the labor market. Coupled with continuous information about skills demand in the labor market, graduate service would ensure optimal synergy between education and employment. Being an elected Bureau member of the Steering Committee on Education Policy and Practice of the Council of Europe and the co-chair of the Bologna Follow-up Group Working Group on Fundamental Values in Education has strengthened my vision to continue to work with and to support higher education providers who are the enablers in our society to reach global common goals. I am a true believer in education, and I believe that you all are. Education is the key to inclusive sustainability, to peace, to harmony. It is the way to wisdom. I wish you all a very successful conference. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we give the word to the president of the Euro-Mediterranean University in Slovenia, Professor Hamid El-Zoheiry. Please, Professor, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And I'd like to begin by thanking Pegaso International for organizing this conference in a very timely manner and also inviting me to give my opening remarks. Africa in all its diversity is home to over 1 billion people. It boasts the youngest, fastest growing middle class in the world. Africa's young people have the potential to transform their continent's political, economic, and social prospects, but for this, they need decent jobs, a place in society, access to social services, energy and infrastructure, and an active role in determining their country's future. In particular, African women are key drivers of sustainable development and peace. In Africa, new prospects and challenges are emerging from economic, political, social, technological, demographic, climate, and environmental changes. Europe needs to partner with Africa to tackle together the challenges of the 21st century and to further the common interests and future of both continents. For this reason, the Euro-Mediterranean University, EMUNI, which is typically operating in the countries of the Euro-Mediterranean region, has extended its activity, and in our last conference in September last month, we decided to extend our activities to Africa. And I believe that with this conference that Pegaso International has organized, and with partnership with Pegaso International, who is one of the inner circle members of the Euro-Mediterranean Universities network, together we can work to discuss, how we can better address the challenges facing Africa towards a sustainable development, not only for Africa, but also for Europe, since, as has been said before, Africa's future is very closely linked to Europe's future. And I'm very happy that I am joining today in this opening session and also in the first panel. And I also congratulate Professor Melillo for her active and productive work in the last 5 years and holding this annual conference. And I look forward to receiving the results of the conference and following up together with our partners at Pegaso International. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor El-Zoheiry, for your contribution. And now I give the word to the President of the National Agency for the Evaluation of Universities and Researches in Italy. Professor Antonio Uricchio, please, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon. Thanks a lot for the invitation. First of all, I have to thank the Rector Melillo for the opportunity to discuss about very important issues and to give my regards to all the participants, and some of them that are very close to my experience. My friend Nada, and I give her my regards, Francesco, Fimmanò, and the other colleagues. Thanks a lot. Director Hamid and Valerie, thanks a lot for the opportunity to meet you. I hope to meet you face to face, not only in telematic session. I think that it's very important for us to discuss about sustainability and the perspective of our institution in the field of education, and to promote the culture of environment between our students in academic fields and in the field of research. I think that many institutions are engaged in this field, and I, as president of Italian Agency of Evaluation, I have an observatory, because just this year, about 50 different courses has been accredited by our agency in the field of sustainability and environment, and more of them are have a focus on the global problems, global emergency, climate change, leadership in this field, and international relationship and cooperation between university institutions to give a perspective to develop the culture of sustainability could be very useful for all of our institutions. With our agency, we have started to evaluate policy in the field of environment, the so-called third mission, and the objective of sustainability is inserted in the framework of third mission evaluation. And in our BQR, the evaluation of research, we have a section devoted to social inclusion, to environment, to climate change, and many institutions have offered different cases, study cases, and we have analyzed so in our report. We have very important activity in this field. I give my regards to all the participants, and I'm sure that this conference could be very important to develop our relationship. And I hope that next year we will meet in Naples, in Malta, or in Egypt or somewhere, because the opportunity to work together and to stay together could be very important, not only to discuss, but to promote our relationship and to develop the cooperation between our institutions. Thanks a lot, and bye.
Thank you, Professor Uricchio, thank you. Now we should have had the Minister for Education, Sport, Youth, Research and Innovation of Malta, His Excellency Clifton Crema, but of course he has had health problems, so now we give the word to the Minister for Foreign and European Affairs and Trade of Malta, His Excellency Ian Borg.
Excellencies, distinguished panelists, esteemed guests, dear colleagues, good afternoon. First, I would like to express a word of thanks to Professor Luigia Melillo for inviting me to address you all today at the inauguration of the 4th Pegaso International Conference. It is indeed a pleasure for me to address this conference that aims to shed light on principles which Malta and the European Union hold so dear, and to be able to discuss important issues with our colleagues in Africa. Sustainability, and particularly sustainable development, is undeniably imperative in all aspects of our lives, including ensuring sustainable intercultural dialogue and the sustainable use of new technologies to push forward advancements in education, digitalization, and other relevant fields. As a society, Malta continues to celebrate and embrace the diversity of cultures within our country and the contribution that Africa and Africans make towards development beyond the African continent. We can all agree that mutual learning and understanding of each other's cultures are a step closer to harmoniously live together within our region. Malta continues to make the best use of the various forms of digital platforms available to connect our societies, including our students. Through virtual and digital means of communication and collaboration, students at higher education institutions can learn and understand each other's cultures. We shall continue to be willing to share best practices, including lessons learned through the European Union's Digital Education Action Plan, to ensure efficient implementation and best results. Peaceful coexistence and active cooperation eventually augurs societal, cultural, as well as economic benefits for all our nations. Encouraged by the fruitful work and distinct cooperation between our nations, undoubtedly there is potential to strengthen sustainable inclusivity between Europe and Africa in the years to come. May we continue to utilize digitalization and technology to celebrate our cultural diversity and promote intercultural dialogue, to further maximize the benefits and prospects of our respective peoples. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you to all of you for following this afternoon. We will meet again in 15 minutes to the first panel of discussion on sustainability challenges in the relation between Africa and Europe together tomorrow, today, which will be moderated by our General Director of Pegaso International, Andrea Buonomo. See you in 15 minutes. Thank you.